lies.
Welcome back to BodyBags. This is week number 419. This is a random week. I'll be your host, Jason from Horrific Nightmares. And this is also the last stop on our journey through the box of Hemisphere horrors. And I saved the best for last with the torture chamber of Dr. Sadism, also known as Blood Demons. The Torture Chamber of Dr. Sadism is a 1967 film which runs approximately 84 minutes and is directed by Harold Laney. He passed away on October 9th, 1986 at the age of 78. He was responsible for Deadly Jaws and The Sinister Monk. This stars Lex Baxter as Roger Montelsa. He passed away on May 11th, 1973 at the age of 54. He was in The Valley of Death, Woman Times 7, and Killer's Carnival. Karen Dorr as the Baroness. She passed away on November 6th, 2017 at the age of 79. She was in Dark Echoes, Warhead, and Assignment Terror, which I believe is a Fulci film, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong on that. And finally, the late, great Christopher Lee as Count Frederick Regula. Kind of sounds like Dracula, doesn't it? He passed away on June 7, 2015 at the age of 93. He, of course, was Dracula in the Hammer films. He was in Star Wars as Count Dooku, and The Lord of the Rings as Saruman. Okay. This, of course, is based on The Pit in the Pendulum by Edgar Allan Poe. It's German. And apparently, this Severin Blu-ray has the most complete version of the film. This movie really surprised me. Okay, I'm going to get into a very brief synopsis because I wanted to talk about the atmosphere of this film a little bit. Okay, you have Count Regula in the very beginning. He is convicted of torturing and killing people in his castle. So he is sentenced to death, but he's sentenced to death that they don't normally sentence people this way. He has to wear a mask of spikes. He is also drawn and quartered in the town square. That's kind of above and beyond for capital punishment for that time. So the Count, who is dead, or at least you think he's dead, has a nefarious purpose. He summons a few people to his castle about 30 or 35 years later in order to complete a sinister plan that will give him everlasting life. And I'm going to leave the synopsis there. That's pretty much the story in a nutshell, but there's a lot more to it. One of the things I wanted to talk about is this movie's from 1967. Okay, we've seen Peeping Tom, we've seen Psycho, and we've seen some brutality on film, but I think this might be one of the most graphic films I've seen from that time period. You know, this is before the 70s. The 70s, of course, with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and movies like that, got pretty graphic, but not so much movies from companies that were aspiring to be like Hammer. And, of course, Hemispheres was trying to be like Hammer. And I think the completed version that I've seen, or the most complete version of the film to date, had a lot of stuff taken out of it. Now, when they put that stuff back in, wow, I was completely blown away. The special effects were great. The practical effects were amazing. And I'm going to take you through a small portion of the film just so you can kind of learn, or just so you can kind of hear what I'm talking about the brutality. So these people who are summoned to Count Regula's castle are on the way, and of course you have that typical atmosphere like in Dracula when people are on the way to his castle, where it's foggy and the trees are dead and stuff like that. But this starts taking it steps a lot further than that. So as they're going down this path to get to the castle, you start seeing limbs in the trees. Legs, arms, heads. And if that wasn't bad enough, they decided to keep going. You see bodies hanging from the trees. And if that wasn't bad enough, they keep going, and you're seeing just disgusting, bloody bodies and people hanging from the trees, and it's like kind of like it gets worse as it goes along. Not to mention, there are a bunch of like masochistic torture devices in this castle of Count Regulus. Of course, it's called the torture chamber of Count Sadism, or Dr. Sadism. And believe me, they take that pretty seriously. I was very surprised in the brutality. I was loving every minute of it. And in my opinion, this is the best movie of this box set. Although I've liked all of them, The Blood Drinkers was my least favorite, and that was because of their odd use of color. The story was pretty good, but all in all, this is a really good box set. Very, very good. I was very impressed with it. And those are the grass cutters that you're hearing. So I'm going to wrap this up. Definitely check this one out. I know that they put another, well, actually there's several versions of this movie that are cut down. But if you can get a hold of this one and watch it, definitely do so. It's quite brutal for its time. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.